Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? My sound's not on. Is it? Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Now my sound is on. I had to get some different equipment for my studio. I was having a lot of technical problems. Pretty sure it was my old laptop. And yeah, unfortunately had to go use my Micro Center card and get a Mac Mini, because I really just think that this I had a 2014 laptop. That's not exactly what you want to be streaming with. So your guys' support obviously helps me make the payments on my equipment. So yeah, with that intro, let me put this up. That was perfect. I wasn't even trying to segue. But here we go. If you can support me, I truly, truly appreciate it. I am investing back into the stream, obviously, and getting better equipment. So far, it seems good, and Wayne did run down the Ethernet cable. I think the speed is good. There doesn't appear to be a lag. I'm competing with Joshua here on the set game, right? And I have my collection of gifts up here. I've got my barbed dildos, my ruin. Oh, you can't see up here, but I bought that for myself. I got my clear gavel. That is a gavel in my pocket. And I am glad to see you. I have, as you know, some, whatchamacallit, sponsors. That's what you call it. I'm pulling a Joe Biden. I can't even remember what I'm saying. So first sponsor here. I wanted to bring up this website for this awesome book. I've enjoyed it. I don't have the book here to show you because Mike Seebeck from Cult of RONR and Hey H. Reardon and Dave Davis took it home to read for himself and also wanted his teenage son, well, actually young adult. I think he's closer to being a grown-ass man than being just simply a teenager, but to check it out and for his wife to check it out. And you can see some of the beautiful illustrations here. So if you have somebody in your life that's between, I think it was the ages of 4 and 10-ish, and you want to give them a liberty moral book that's also interesting to read, I think particularly for boys, only because Dante has such adventures, you will enjoy this book. And also, I had introduced as a perk to my $25 a month and up sponsors, right, that if you had a Liberty product or show or something for me to promote, I would love to do that. We need to grow the Liberty movement and Liberty channels together. So one of my sponsors asked if I could promote his YouTube channel, and here we go. It's Daniel 3 Biblical I can talk anarchy. As you can see, I've subscribed. You should subscribe. You should go do that now while I'm still yabbering and help bring up his counts. I would truly appreciate it. We've got to stick together in this movement. Okay, today we have the last of the bonus episodes for the June-July LP News issue. Next Friday, we will have the August-September LP News, so it'll be a whole new issues. What we are finishing up today is, where's the cover? The last part of the 1973 Political Action Manual. So the last 2 chapters. I think I might start doing history twice a week because I've got a lot of stuff I want to cover for you all. So we're going to go over today fundraising and campaign strategy. And that will be it for this book. Oh, and before I forget, I had promised Andy Jacobs. If any of you had watched Joshua Smith's show, and if you haven't, please do. It was awesome. And help me beat him in subscribers. But I had mentioned, it was probably back in 2017, where I had said Andy Jacobs had said he thought I was a government spook. Now, Andy got in touch with me. He does not recall saying that. He does not believe he said it. And he brought something to my attention. I remember this as well. There was somebody on IPR who kept impersonating Andy Jacobs and having him say outrageous things. Now, I know for a fact, I saw a post with his name on it that said that, but I also know for a fact there was somebody impersonating him at that time, and since he says he never believed that, I'm satisfied that it was probably the impersonator, and Andy wanted everyone to know that he never believed that. He did not think I was a government spook. But I do want to say, if somebody did at that time, I wouldn't have blamed them. We need a healthy dose of suspicion. I did come out of nowhere, and with being in the party less than 2 years, was already on the national committee. You should have been suspicious, maybe. And I wasn't particularly radical then. I'm trying to think of at that time whether I was an anarchist yet. When I first joined the LNC, was I? I guess, when did I become? You want to know what? I think I miscalculated the date. You know, I'm not good with years. So I joined the party in 2014, but almost at the end. So you might as well say 2015. And I became an anarchist in 26. No, so I was already, I guess, an anarchist. I don't know, my time frames sometimes are. But I'm satisfied there was somebody really just being a dick and impersonating Andy Jacobs, impersonating a bunch of people there, but really got a kick out of this troll, got a kick out of impersonating Andy, because Andy would get understandably upset about it. And when you let a troll know you're upset, they keep doing things. Oh, and speaking of trolls, there's a decision on the LNC that some people are upset about, and I want to explain it and for once defend the LNC. They're going to be requiring email verification on the member email submissions. And I'll tell you why. Because a couple trolls ruined it for everybody. We want to hear from members, but if we're getting spammed, and it's not the guy who likes writing about me, let's all sing Carly Simon. You're so vain, you probably think this motion is about you. So he wrote going, oh, you guys are doing this for little old me. Dude, you only spam the LNC list like 3 times a week. No, it wasn't about you. We were getting dozens at a time, and they were foul. They weren't just harassing me. I don't give a shit. They were like, very few of them were about me, but they were calling people they were calling Aaron, Susan, Richard, all kinds of just really abusive and foul names, and Whitney, over and over and over and over, and they weren't real. And what was happening was that the actual members who actually wanted the LNC to hear them, it was getting lost in these spams. So whoever that asshole is, because it was the same writing style, it was 1 or 2 people, ruined it for everybody, and we are requiring email verification. What I don't like about requiring the email verification is that if somebody is a legitimate whistleblower and legitimately wants to remain anonymous, how will they get in touch? Well, somebody who's that motivated, just go to the staff page and type in somebody's email address, and or use a disposable email address. I don't know. There's a way you could figure out how to do it. You could call, okay? A legitimate member whistleblower does not happen very often, but members writing the LNC happens every day, and we cannot have those legitimate member emails getting drowned by a 4chan troll. So yes, I did vote for the email verification, and it was to protect the actual members who we want to hear from. So if you're still unhappy about that vote, well, I've explained it. And I will defend absolutely the rest of the LNC in voting for this. Just because they do some things wrong sometimes doesn't mean everything they do is wrong. They are right here. And it has nothing to do with people who are anonymous writing about me. It was people who were abusive to my fellow LNC members. I can deal with it. I get it a lot. But I'll be the first to defend even my enemies from being abused like that. That's not right, and I want to hear from members. So hopefully that explains it. Let's go to our... I didn't have it pulled up. Let me find it here, because again, I had to set up a whole new computer. So here it is. So let me pull this up, and then I will share my screen. And let me find the page too, so that you guys aren't having to watch me scroll. We're going to fundraising, which is chapter 6. I think, is this it? It is! Okay. Alrighty. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to, well, I guess I'll keep me on the side there. Why not? Okay. Fundraising. And I need to wet my whistle with some Red's Hard Apple. This beer was brought to you courtesy of a super chat on Cultivar ONR. Super chats are always welcome, and it keeps me and Mike Seebeck in beer. So please feel free. Okay. Chapter 6, fundraising. Again, I don't know if we're going to read all of this. We're going to see how pertinent it is to today. There are really only 2 ways to raise a given amount of money. True. Well, there's multiple ways. You could also get an OnlyFans page. Oh, I got a joke to tell you on that. remind me, okay? Remind me when we're done with this to tell you my OnlyFans joke. I'm so freaking twisted. Okay. There are only, oh, yeah, I already said that. One is to get a small amount from each of a large number of people. The other is to get a large amount from each of a small number of people. Both avenues should be explored. And it says the former is more important because despite the pipe dreams of various visionaries, there are few people who are willing to plunk down one chunk. And you're not going to get a sugar daddy. Okay, David, you're probably right. You know what? I want to see if I can get this a little smaller on the screen. Yeah, that's better. So you can see more at one time. There are many ways to get money out of people in amounts ranging from 10 cents to $10. You don't raise 10 cents today, but remember this is from 1973. The first and most obvious is to simply ask. That's also the most effective in my view. And I've gotten much better at it. I ask you guys for support, and believe me, you've come through. There's nothing wrong with this, but it says it's the least effective. I don't know. I find it the most effective, but let's see what he has to say. For one thing, it minimizes the contributor's commitment to the LP. Really? I think when you have skin in the game, your commitment is maximized. It does little to help spread the word about the party. Okay. And it just asking does little to inspire people to contribute. I think I utterly disagree with this. Thus, it's far better to offer your prospective contributors something in return. Well, that's fine too, but a lot of times on a campaign, the thing you're offering in return is if you're elected, you're going to be a frickin' libertarian and get them more freedom. Obviously the best, you know what though, I immediately thought campaign fundraising. This is more talking about affiliate fundraising. So, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Obviously, the best thing you can do is to get your prospect to take out a membership in the Libertarian Party. That way, you not only get his money, but a fairly strong commitment as well. Okay, I for some reason was thinking of candidates. For affiliate fundraising, I would suppose this is correct. And a membership should include a subscription to some LP publication. Fine, so they are getting something. It said you should also give them a button sticker. Okay. Check this out. Material can be purchased or produced locally and priced at 300% of production cost with a sliding scale for quantity. Whew, that won't fly today. Like, for instance, oh, and I'm going to promote this on Monday, but I've got merchandise. But shit, if I priced my merchandise at 300%, t-shirts would be like $600 or something. My God, no. But they're talking about buttons and flyers. Okay. So, a third way towards the bottom here. A third way to raise money that is less desirable is the quote-unquote event. I don't know. We find events pretty successful, at least in Colorado. We had an event today. Now, it wasn't fundraising for the party. It was fundraising for a member here in Colorado, Kevin Goldbranson, who's been hospitalized with COVID. And it's going on several months now, and he's not projected to come home for maybe another month or so. He's sick. So we were fundraising to help his wife. And it was a decently successful event. So events, I think, I wouldn't poo-poo them. It says it's especially useful when you have a candidate you want people to meet. Okay, have your event open to the public, of course. And then it says handing out flyers, but today it would be social media is worthwhile. All right. Now check this out. This is something a lot of affiliates don't do today, and it is successful. So I'm going to read this in full. One final method of raising funds that deserves mentioning is the popularity poll. We're doing this right now at LP National. Vote with your dollars for the theme of the next convention. It says this method works particularly well on college campuses or at county fairs. A booth should set up with a sign announcing that passerbys are invited to cast their votes for some dubious honor, or the person they would most or least like to see as president, or the person they most admire or despise, and the choices can be restricted or left open, and you sell ballots. This is very successful. Okay, and it continues on getting the larger donations. You know, you try to find a wealthier donor, meet with them, that sort of thing. Okay, that's pretty, whatchamacallit, common sense. And at the end, if you get an invitation to speak before a group of wealthy individuals, give away your material. You don't want to appear cheap. And come right out after your presentation and ask for financial contributions. I will tell you something, with wealthier donors, they do appreciate you just asking. They get a lot of beat around the bush solicitations. It wastes their time. If it's a person of means, just ask them. And ask them for a specific amount, commensurate with their ability. They respect that. Says, send a personal letter of thanks to anyone who contributes $25 or more. That's funny. I send a personal letter of thanks to anyone who becomes a donor to my Patreon. If they give an address, not everyone gives an address, and I don't care what amount it is. You're $1 a month, you get a postcard from me. Everybody does who gives me their address. And this, finally, don't overlook the possibility of getting contributions in the form of goods or services, a used typewriter, office space, so on and so forth. Don't underestimate that. That is truly important. And there's a little summary on the end here. Remember, you can find this booklet if you want to take it and update it for today for your affiliate. There is a summary here on everything that it went over. And a lot of this is still pertinent today, though you would obviously update it for the computer age. All right. I want to go back here a second to my full screen. Right here. Okay. I wanted to show you a few things, and I wanted to tell you my OnlyFans joke. Check this out. This is a Statue of Liberty ring. Look at this thing. I think it's to punch people in the face, huh? It's like a, yeah, take some liberty. I thought this was so cool. I found it on Poshmark a long time ago, and I kept forgetting to wear it. But I feel like I'm going to poke myself in the eye, you know? But I thought this was pretty unusual. But it definitely is a weapon, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. H. Reardon says, how about for a monthly donation of $19, giving the donor an adorable blanket? Well, there's a lot of things you can do. For content creators, it's generally the content. You know, they're helping to support the content. Now, for my top donors, my top patrons for the $25 a month, I do offer the perk of promoting your Liberty product, and you get to suggest a topic a month, and if I can do it justice, I'll cover it. In fact, one of my $25 a month patrons sent me this Larkin Rose video on homesteading and wanted me to supplement with my thoughts and to interact with this Larkin Rose video. I've been working on that. It's coming out soon. Probably next week. So Clayton, if you're watching this, your video is coming out soon. Clayton is also the one who suggested, does libertarianism permit voluntary slavery? That was also a Clayton thing. Okay, legal considerations. Oh, OnlyFans. You guys are letting me go off track. Oh, my anarchy symbol is all twisted up. Come on now, why didn't you tell me that? It's like lipstick on my teeth. And speaking of that, this lipstick I'm wearing now keeps getting all over my teeth. Nope, I'm fine. Oh, you're right. That blanket. You're okay. Now I know. But that kid for the Shriners one, that little boy, he's so precious. Oh my God. He kills me with cuteness, that little boy. So here's my OnlyFans idea. Now I can't do it because Wayne wouldn't let me. But tell me this wouldn't get some LNC members undies all in a twist. I can't do this. Okay. Anyone's thinking of writing the LNC. This is a joke. Ha ha, humor. I came up though with a great fundraising idea. For our electronic meetings, don't have the camera on the YouTube, but have a separate camera. And on your OnlyFans, do the meeting topless. I betcha, because I got some nice girls, okay? All right, we're in the double letters here, okay? I bet you I could make some money if I did topless LNC meetings. What do you think? Wayne won't let me, just like he won't let me show feet. But that's a money maker right there. Capitalism, bitches. Wayne. He knows I'm such an exhibitionist. All right, and that's legal here in Denver. You can go topless. Okay, let's get back to the topic now that I've distracted you. Alrighty. You know, a good friend of mine bought me a shirt that says nice chest for an old lady, and it's perfect. Okay, let's continue. Hell, I'd watch it. All right, legal considerations. But it is a joke. Before you start writing the LNC, I'm already in enough trouble. Okay? Already in enough trouble. All right, we'll go back to sharing my screen. Legal considerations. However, we might wish it to be otherwise. There are numerous bureaucratic regulations concerning the operation of political parties, the bastards, and particularly concerning the conduct of campaigns for national office. We would therefore strongly suggest that every state LP obtain the services of an attorney. I tell you, Colorado doesn't. Getting an attorney is expensive, but we do have libertarian attorneys who give us free legal advice when we, in fact, do need it. And that's what he says in the next paragraph. I should have just read ahead. Very important. You should incorporate. Now, I'm not a fan of corporations. I don't believe they're libertarian. But as long as the state exists and they are granting these special privileges, we might as well take advantage of them. And to be honest with you, if your state party is not incorporated, you've got officers who aren't thinking with their head on straight, because they can become personally liable for shit if you're not incorporated. Get incorporated. It's not that difficult. Actually, he said here Colorado has a fairly complicated. No, it's not. I don't know. Maybe it was complicated in the 70s, but I helped incorporate the LPCO and it wasn't complicated. Okay, interesting. Okay, says you should have a checking account. I don't understand here what he's saying. Do not commit the party to any obligations for which you do not already have the funds, unless one or more members are willing to accept financial responsibility. Yeah, if you don't incorporate, yeah, that's true, because you will become personally liable. That is good advice. And here's what's funny. In any event, you should draw up a constitution and bylaws. You have to if you're incorporating. Not a constitution anymore, but you will have to file bylaws with the Secretary of State. Oh, great. I'm glad he said this. They have no effect on your legal relations with anyone outside the party. That is not true. They can, but the primary thing here is, but they will define and commit the reciprocal rights and duties among the various members of the party. Yes, Queen. Okay. Most people do not understand that. Bylaws are a good thing. If you do incorporate, it will not be necessary to incorporate anything other than the state party itself. I don't know about this next sentence. Any committees, local organizations, and the like can operate within the framework of the state organization. I never even considered that. I don't know about that because our state parties are separate political entities in the state of Colorado. You'd need to have to ask an attorney that. That might have been true in the 70s. I'm not so sure that is true now. And then he goes on to the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1972. That's no longer current, so we're not going to go over that, but do encourage you to look at, like in Colorado, we have the Fair Campaign Practices. There's all kinds of shit, and you probably do want to talk to an attorney of that. It says any contribution over $10 must be recorded. It's now $20 in Colorado, so let me tell you what we do. We, whenever we go to an event, have a roll of pennies with us so that we give everyone a penny change so that their contribution is $19.99. So, considering all this, you know, be prepared to keep good records is basically what it's saying. And every political committee is required to have a president or a chair and a treasurer. I think in Colorado, you're also required to have a secretary. It says the law uses the word committee, but it is clear that the word applies to any organization which solicits and expends funds on behalf of a candidate for federal office. In Colorado, it's also for any office. So this is some really outdated stuff. And of course, obviously, this was written in the 70s. And because for federal office, you have to be an FEC filer. That's probably new. Anyway, since we're not involved in any primaries or the like, some LPs are involved in primaries. In fact, in Colorado, we get forced into primaries on some very specific occasions, but it's not often. And then it talks about forming different committees, right? We still don't have time for that. Okay. This is very outdated. So basically the lessons here are the little checklist at the end here. Obtain the services of an attorney, preferably a libertarian volunteer. If your state's incorporation statutes are reasonably simple, your state organization should be incorporated. I don't care whether they're simple or not. Your state organization should be incorporated, or you've got officers with like air for brains, because nobody who values their personal assets will serve in an organization that's not incorporated. Do not go into debt. Pay as you go. Keep records of all receipts and expenditures and report campaign contributions. Be sure that all LP organizations in your state have whatever your state requires. It will be a minimum chair and treasurer, but a lot say chair, secretary, and treasurer. Investigate and comply with all state election laws, and I would add in all federal election laws. And that is it, I think. We went through, campaign strategy. Burpity burp. I didn't realize we had 3 chapters. Is it just 3 or is there more? Let me look here. Oh, no, there's more. Okay, I thought we only had 2 things to go over. We've got 4, so we got 2 more. Campaign strategy, but I'm going to go back to my main screen here because that's where I can see your comments. So let me unshare for a second. This Mac Mini is speeding fast. My streams are going to be much better, I think. Yeah, Reagan, decorum. Wait for Monday. I'll be modeling my merch, and we're going to be designing some more as well. And if anyone has any ideas or designs, send them my way because I'll put them up on Teespring. But everyone's got to get that shirt, the Mud Decorum shirt for Reno, and you help support my show. You get a cool shirt, and you help support my show. Okay, back in black, back to the thingy. So, 1 second, share my screen. Campaign strategy. In a booklet of this size, it would be impossible to cover in depth every aspect of campaign strategy and tactics. Right, there's full-length books on the subject. There's some pointers. Okay. Until the LP reaches something approaching major party status, it would be the sheerest folly for us to field candidates in more than a handful of races. Absolutely disagree. We have a different strategy in Colorado now. We fill the ballot. because we have minor party status, we've got automatic ballot access, we put in line holders for any race that we do not have somebody running an active campaign. A line holder is also called a paper candidate, is someone who just agrees to put their name on the ballot and they don't do anything else, though you should, even with your line holders, ask them to fill out the surveys that they get from the newspapers. If they don't want to do it, get a volunteer to do it for them. That is the value. That's the activism value in running a political campaign or being a political party. You get all kinds of free press that you would not get otherwise. I was a paper candidate, line holder, whatever you want to call it, for State House 45. And I answered all of the surveys. So I got to see in print all of my ranting against the government. And they'll print it. No matter, they'll print it. So I don't agree with this campaign strategy. Each affiliate's going to be different. If you've got filing fees, well then, you might have to target a few things. Now, you can do both. You can fill the ballot and still target a few races. That's the way we do it in Colorado. And then it says, how do you pick which ones you target? This is going to change so much depending upon your affiliate. This advice was probably good for a brand spanking new party with people who didn't know what the hell they're doing, but we have enough people now. Apollo Pizzell will help you, that I don't think we need to go over this, because I think this is really, really affiliate specific. And then he says that actually on this other page, where it says, the answer to this question will obviously have to be determined by each state LP organization. Okay, now we're not allowed to do this anymore. I want to read this because this is old. It talks about endorsing or supporting a candidate of another party. Affiliate parties aren't allowed to do that anymore under national bylaws. But this was before that was apparently in the national bylaws. So we'll read it, but just know you can't do that today. And deciding whether or not to endorse or support a particular candidate of another party, there are, unfortunately, few reliable yardsticks to use. Basically saying, look at their voting record, do a personal interview. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Danger, danger, Will Smith. And it goes on in the next page to say there's also rating organizations. We used to have an organization in Colorado called Principles of Liberty. Unfortunately, that gentleman, Bracken, moved away. And it talks about how to score. I wouldn't bother even learning that, because find an organization that does this. You're not going to be doing this yourself. Plus, you're not allowed to support candidates of other parties, but you still want to score your incumbents of other parties so that you could pressure them into taking more liberty positions, and you just know you can have the letter writing campaigns, you can do your lobbying more effectively. There's some good advice at the end here, though. One word of caution: every candidate should have a campaign manager. Do-it-yourself campaigns are almost always disastrous. And the state LP chairman should not be either a candidate or a campaign manager. Absolutely disagree. A candidate, yes. They shouldn't be a campaign manager. But there's nothing wrong with the chair being a candidate. I mean, if you got enough people, then by all means, then fine. But a lot of times we need candidates. All right. Lastly, I think this is tactical tips. Okay, it's talking about the actual campaign efforts. First strategic decision is you're going to try to get on the ballot or rely on write-in votes. Fortunately, most state LPs now have ballot access of one sort or another, but there are some states where we still have to rely on write-ins. So oh, check this out. Circulating ballot petitions is one of the best ways to make people aware of the fact that the LP exists and is running a candidate. Asking someone to sign a ballot petition is a marvelous excuse for giving him some LP material. Okay, I'll drink to that. In many cases, it will be surprisingly easy to get the required number of signatures. Not anymore. Not in most cases, maybe in some local races, but the donkeys and the pachyderms have fucked us bad. And they weren't even a good lay. Oh, check this out. Ballot requirements, check this here. This is fantastic. It's right here on the bottom. Ballot requirements vary widely from state to state, ranging from ridiculous, meaning ridiculously small, Hawaii, 25 signatures, to impossible, North Carolina, 25% of all eligible voters. I bet that got thrown out of court. We don't have any that are that hard. And it talks about the deadlines for petitions vary widely as well. Richard Winger has proven to be invaluable in educating the party on this. You could tell at this time we really didn't know our ass from our elbow. All right, but let's continue. An important point is the use of public opinion polls. I've never heard that being done, at least not here in Colorado. This is different than those popularity fundraising polls. But hey, if you can afford to get a polling organization to do it, do it. But he's saying not get a professional polling organization, just do it yourself with volunteers. That's half-assed. I wouldn't say doing that. Oh, I do not agree with this. It's almost fraudulent on the here on this page. I do not like this. It says to avoid turning off interviewees or influencing their responses. Well, I get not influencing their responses, so maybe I was a little bit too strong. Interviewers should not identify themselves with being the Libertarian Party. Instead, use a made-up name. Not in favor of that. If they ask, I think you should be honest. Okay. And there's the summary. A survey is not to influence opinion, but to measure it. That's why you should get an independent polling company. And it says use a front. I don't like that. Do not like that. Hire another company and then you don't gotta lie. We've already went through the references when we first started this, so that is it. But David Nolan wrote this on his own, and it's not bad for someone who just started a political party. Good job, David, if you can hear me in the afterlife. Alrighty. I want to get this back in order. So that was David's first edition of the Political Action Manual for $1.25. He sold this in its little bound copy. All right, next Friday, we will be doing, what did I say? Oh, the August, September, LP News. I have no idea what's in it because I don't read them ahead of time. And what else is coming up? I'm going to be uploading to this channel, but it's a week or two behind the delegate training that I'm doing for LPTV, so that show called Unconventional, that will also be broadcast here. I'm probably going to upload that tonight. I might do it as a premiere so that I can answer questions in the live chat. And Tuesday is Tim Moen, who's the chair of the Libertarian Party of Canada. Thursday, there's going to be a special episode of Cult of RONR, which will also be broadcast here, where the parliamentarian that saved my ass from the rest of the LNC, he's going to be our special guest. He's not going to be talking about that, but we ended up becoming pretty good friends. He's the guy who got us, do I have it here? I think I have it here. Yes, the write-up in the National Parliamentarian, the Cult of RONR, Got it right up. That's what she said. And he updated my Wikipedia article to mention this because this is notable. That's a national publication. So that was pretty cool. And we're going to be talking about what it's like to be a working parliamentarian, from that being your career, because I am working on getting my RP and I do want to be a working parliamentarian. And we're going to pick one of his various articles because he's written a lot to go over it. I asked Mike to pick the article. He hasn't yet. Mike, if you're listening, you need to pick that article because we need to let JJ know. And yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I'm expecting the new ballot access news any day, and we'll be doing that. I got to check in on our commie friends with the People's Party. Oh, and tomorrow, a Liberty Boudoir is probably going to be coming out. And I'm going to be going over Dave Smith's interview with Gillespie of Reason, Michael Malice on Jason Stapleton with that king-pilled guy. Gave me cancer. Who else? Ben Shapiro had some fantastic points that we could, I think, really take in and convert to applying it to libertarianism. I thought it was very insightful. Obviously, he was talking about the Republicans, but I think there was something for us to learn. And what else? Just some other miscellaneous clips. So yeah, there's a lot of content coming out. That homesteading thing, I've got a lot of things. I've got a lot of feels and got a lot of content to get out there. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. I thank you for your support to the extent that you can do it. Yay, capitalism. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to work on recording an intro for Unconventional and upload that. So maybe there'll be a live premiere tonight. Thank you, everyone. And I have updated, I got my little stream deck here. I don't know if you could see that. So I'm trying to use that. I got some sound effects here too. So here's the one we use in Cultivar O&R all the time. Yeah, because we're filthy on that show. I don't know how we make Roberts filthy. I make anything filthy if you haven't noticed. But yeah, so I've updated my little ending screen here with my newest patrons. Thank you. I love you so much. And yeah, bye-bye. Still here, bitches.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.